Our next team will be Wyoming. Good morning. Woo. When you are ready, you may start.
Okay. All right. First, we'd like to thank you for inviting us back in as Tyson Foods to discuss the ethical issues regarding animal agriculture. But before we begin, I'd like to say Happy Earth Day. My name is Stephen. This is my colleague Kale and my colleague Meg. First, when we came in yesterday, we discussed how animal agriculture is the #1 contributor to greenhouse gas emissions and has irreversible effects against climate change. With these emissions, your industry also depletes many of the planet's resources. Now, along with this, you're depleting your land, your water, your forests, and your species, and this is no way a sustainable business practice. Along with our planet, we are also destroying our customers' health, your customers' health, and also you're getting unfair and unethical subsidies. So in our conclusion, we'll talk about our recommended solutions that we gave you yesterday and how they solve these ethical problems. But first, I'll hand it over to Kale to talk about the ethical issues in our plan.
Thanks, Stephen. See, the U.S. is one of 185 countries that agreed to the binding framework made in the Paris Agreement. And this commits each country to do their part to help keep our rise in the global temperature to levels below 2 degrees Celsius. And what this entails is that, the most developed countries with the most intensive industries have to do a little bit more than their less developed counterparts in order to combat these problems. So by 2025, we've pledged to decrease our greenhouse gas emissions by 26 to 28%. And as Tyson Foods is a top competitor within the industry, we believe they have an ethical duty and obligation to do their fair share in order to help combat these carbon footprints of theirs. And actually today, this very day, there are 155 world leaders in New York at the UN headquarters, all in an effort to sign this agreement and make sure that they are all committed to it. And our firm has been given the pleasure to help Tyson's Foods, help them maintain their brand equity and overall market share. And we believe that in a world of ever-changing priorities, you may have to reprioritize where your production is at. To achieve this ambitious yet completely necessary goal, the U.S. is going to go after the #1 greenhouse gas emitter, and that is the animal agriculture industry. And as it stands, emissions from the animal agriculture industry accounts for 18 to 26% of all greenhouse gas emissions. However, I don't want this number to dissuade you, as nitrous oxide, it's a very common greenhouse gas, yet relatively less known. It's 296 times more detrimental than carbon dioxide to our atmosphere. And with an atmospheric lifespan of 112 years, we can't help but question why nothing has been done to help curb these emissions. So along with this is the rate of deforestation with the Amazon rainforest. 91% of all deforestation in that rainforest is due to this industry. And it's for the sole use of irrigating land for feed and also for grazing cattle. And this totals out to 136 million acres. But to put this in perspective for you, we're losing the size of Massachusetts every single year. And the limited land, excuse me, that this planet has to offer, the animal agriculture industry, from their grazing lots, their irrigated land for feed, their production facilities, it accounts for 45% of all the land that is available to us as humans. And included in this is the scarcity of water. And we're all well aware that the prices of this water are not only increasing, but the allocation of this fresh water is completely unsustainable. And as it stands, it requires, from grain to cow, over 2,600 gallons of water just to produce 1 pound of beef. But in all the harms to the planet and the ethicality of the abuse of these resources needs to be on the forefront of your mind as Tyson in order to create a positive and preemptive business plan to attack this. Now, I'd like to give the floor to Meg to discuss some health implications.
Thank you, Kale. So not only does the animal agriculture industry damage the planet, it is detrimental to our health. Marketing campaigns in the past have made an impression that it is the healthiest option to be consuming meat, though the age of transparency has shown a light that that is not correct. We have identified 4 major health concerns attributed to the animal agriculture industry and the production of their byproducts. First, cancer. The World Health Organization recently released a report noting that eating 50 grams of processed meat a day, which is just less than 2 slices of bacon, increases your chances of colorectal cancer by 18%. Now, given the severity of this, they've actually categorized processed meat as a type 1 carcinogen. Second is obesity. Now, this has been a pressing problem in the United States for many years, and animal-related products have a higher fat content than plant-based products. And on average, vegetarians are 10 to 20 pounds lighter than meat eaters. Third is heart disease. In a Framingham heart study, which was conducted just 7 miles from where we're standing right now, it was found that the average meat eater's cholesterol was 194 versus the average vegan cholesterol of 146. And the average vegan has 2.5 fewer cardiac problems than the average meat eater. And fourth, premature mortality. In an Oxford University study identifying or looking at death and diet, it was observed that if we were to go to a vegan diet right now, by 2050 we will have saved 8.1 million lives and 129 million life years. Now, given those statistics, I'll hand the floor to Stephen to review our solutions.
Thanks, Meg. So as we discussed yesterday, our recommended solutions not only help solve these ethical issues, but they help secure your financial future. Now, our first recommendation was to acquire a plant-based meat alternative company. And the company that we looked at was named Beyond Meat. And just to give you a little noteworthy quote, one of their investors, Bill Gates, said that he could not tell the difference between Beyond Meat and real chicken. But the real product that really stood out to us was a product called the Beast. And this burger is vegan, it's soy-free, and it's gluten-free. Now, this burger has more protein than beef. It has more iron than steak. It has more calcium than milk. It has more omega-3s than salmon, and it has more antioxidants than blueberries. Not only is this one of the healthiest things that you can consume, it's much healthier than the products that you sell today, and it uses far less greenhouse gas emissions. Our second recommendation involved investing in a cultured meat or vitro meat company. Now, this process is involved taking cow and pig cells, turning them into muscle fibers, and then growing them in steel tanks for 9 to 21 days. Now, these steel tanks replace the absurd amount of resources that Kale mentioned earlier. Now, the company that we looked at was called Memphis Meat, and they plan on bringing products to the market within 3 to 4 years. Their product line includes hot dogs, sausages, meatballs, and they taste exactly the same as your products. We suggest that you link up with these companies before they become direct competition. When you look at the operational efficiency between the meat analogs and the products that you sell today, Beyond Meat, a pound of Beyond Meat requires 1.1 pounds of ingredients and 2 liters of water. Traditional chicken requires 7.5 pounds of dry feed and 30 liters of water. The numbers are even more staggering with traditional beef. When you feed a cow 100 grams of vegetable protein, you only get 15 grams of edible animal protein back. Now, with cultured meat, obviously at a commercial scale, it's not in place yet, but scientists, including the one at Memphis Meats, say that they can produce within 2 months from 10 pork cells, they can produce 50,000 tons of meat. Now, not only is this price per pound pretty staggering, but also you use 99.7% less land, you use 94% less water, and you emit 98.8% less greenhouse emissions. Now, these solutions that we set forth are not only solving the ethical issues that your company is facing today, but it's also the best, most practical, and most effective solutions for your future. Now, we highly recommend that you take our ethical and sustainable business practice solutions. And if you have any questions for the future, please just let us know. Thank you.
Job well done, and it sounds as though your solutions offer realistic changes, and we'll be interested to see what Tyson's does in the future.
Thank you.
I'm from Purdue country, so I want to see how they handle it.
Yeah, it'll be tricky.
Well, thank you all for your presentations. I hope you enjoy the rest of your time here, and good luck with your next, what is it, your 90-second presentation, and I hope you have enjoyed your time here. Some are very local, so they know the area well. I hope they have been great and gracious hosts to you. Okay? Thank you very much. Enjoy your time.